You say you haven't been the same since you had your little crash, but you might feel better if they gave you some cash. The more I think about it, old Billy was right. Let's kill all the lawyers. Kill them.
John Mark, there's John Mark. He is John Mark. Good to see you. Come on in.
Good to see you. Yes, sir.
Judge, how you doing?
Well, I'm good.
Here we go. Okay. Welcome to one more episode of Two Marks and
One mic, or
mic.
two marks, one mic.
Yes, we're happy today to welcome to us City Court Judge. I guess what's your official title now? Because you're off the bench now.
Well,
retired City Court
retired
Judge
City Court
Russell
Judge.
Bean. Russell Bean, Judge Bean has always been an advocate for teenage driver safety. As long as I can remember going to City Court, Judge Bean would take the opportunity to play a video about speed and wearing seat belts and texting and driving. And April is Distracted Driver Awareness Month. So we thought it was a good opportunity to remind everybody that we're having, once again, a Never Text and Drive Day. April the 29th, come to our law office, take the pledge, spin the wheel. Judge Bean has been so gracious to be at these Never Text and Drive days to actually give the pledge to young drivers. Yeah, we all have seen the horrific dangers in texting and driving, especially with young people. It's so that the phone is an appendage to their body. They're never without it, and it just takes 3 or 4 seconds to cause really a serious car accident.
And Judge, we just think this is a great opportunity for you to talk about your experiences and what you'd seen on the bench. I think I first met you back in the 1990s when I practiced with Troy Wolf, and at that point before you were on the bench, and you were standing up at that time for individual rights and constitutional rights of individuals, and you know had a great practice, and then you became arrived on the bench in the year 2000.
It was 2000.
And one of the things I admired most about you is you had the respect of Democrats and Republicans and independents alike. They recognized, what a fair, impartial judge you were, and you used that to really, for the youth in our area, to help mold them and teach them some driving lessons. So we'd love for you to talk about those experiences.
Okay, well, thank you all for the opportunity, because anytime I can talk about safe driving, I love to do it. I'll tell you, when I started as city judge, we had a lot of different things. We had the environmental law, and we had fire codes. We had to start with, when I was first city judge, had criminal cases and things of that nature. But my passion became with young drivers and the safety of young drivers, because I saw a lot of accidents with young drivers, speed, of course, not paying attention, distracted driving, following too close, and things of that nature. So I really zoned in on that, and as Mark said, I perfected a video that we show.
And it's really a great venue for when you would show the vid. First off, the kid is there with his parents.
That's right.
So, and it's really, you're in a courtroom, and so there's a higher level of stress and attention, because you're on the bench as a judge. Mom and dad down there, young driver that made a mistake. Hopefully that did not result in someone else getting hurt. But that's an opportunity to correct the behavior in front of the parents, to have the parents actually, as with the young driver, to kind of, put the message home on the way home, saying, and you heard what the judge said, right? So.
Yeah, and sometimes some of the parents would come in and they'd say, well, they're going a little bit too fast. And I said,
You would.
Ma'am or sir, I said,
yes.
That's the most dangerous time of his day, or her day, is driving that vehicle. And we showed the video back in the other room, but I did have up on the screen up above us
the actual crash.
The actual crash. Right? It was a school bus coming, and there was these 3 teenagers, and unfortunately none of them made it. But they're coming, and it just takes a half second for somebody to to get off the road, and they came over head on. And I always tell the young drivers, I said, 60% of the people that young people that die in cars are passengers, and I said, their life, people that you love, your friends, their life is in your hands.
Right.
And so you have to keep your eyes and mind on the road. You've got to watch your speed. If something's going on in the car, you got to hold them down, Say, hold it, guys, I'm trying to keep us safe. And so those things, and And I really had the three keys I always talk to the young people about.
Number
And
one,
Number one was the speed.
the speed.
Number two was following too close. And
Right.
number three, which is probably just as many accidents as
Right.
any, is just not paying attention.
You're right.
It can be
Just
texting and driving.
It could be,
It can
eating.
Yeah.
Eating. It could be
Yeah.
putting on makeup. It
Yeah.
could be, and when we've seen also with, you know, the risk of accidents increases with the more kids in the car.
Yeah.
I mean that's one
Yeah.
advice because the 100 deadliest days of summer is between Memorial Day and Labor Day. That's when kids get out and go to the lake with people in the car.
Out of
And
school, driving, have their buddies in the
Yeah,
car.
Oh,
right.
yeah. And normally when I would tell the young driver that up there, you know, people are nervous up in
Right.
front of an old,
Yes.
ugly judge up there with a black robe looking
Yeah,
down.
they are nervous.
But as they start to go
But you
away,
have
I
their
would say,
attention. I mean,
yeah.
you have their attention.
And I would say, wait a minute, now, before you go, I gave you that, I need a test.
Right.
What's number one?
Right. Yes.
And most
Wow.
of the time they couldn't do it.
No,
because
no.
they're all nervous. So I'd go back over it, and I think that made the impression.
I would actually, Judge. I'd actually, knowing that, I would say parent, because I go with there with tickets also, you
Yeah.
know, and because of that, you know, they would actually offer, why don't I just pay it? And I
Yeah.
said, no, you know, let's go over there and see the judge. All right.
Judge-
And just so they have the opportunity for Judge Bean to talk to them about the dangers of distracted driving, speeding, and following too closely. And I would tell my parent, I would tell the kid, now the judge might ask you after it's all over to recite what he said, so you better pay attention.
So you had a unique ability to temper accountability
Right.
with an opportunity to teach these young drivers a lesson. And that's what you did best
Yeah.
with these young drivers.
Absolutely.
Thank
You
you.
save lives. I mean,
Well-
you have to believe that you save lives on the bench.
Well,
I have to
there-
believe that.
Well, there's one situation I'll tell you. There was a young lady who had come into court, and she came in again. I took her license. I usually never send them to the state. I would just go back and let my court administrator Debbie
Mhm.
hold them, and then we'd call them in about a week and
Right.
get them back in. So I did that to this one young lady, and I was at Northgate Mall, and she came up, and I think it was her dad with her, you know, a big guy, so you don't ever know. Aren't you Judge Bean? No, I'm Judge such. I'm somebody else. No, I said, yeah, I am. And she said, I just want to thank you for saving my life.
Wow.
And that meant so much to me. I mean,
Yes.
it's like it was yesterday.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
And one thing you mentioned a minute ago about the parents, a lot of times they would come in and they would have had a ticket before. Now they've had a wreck or something.
mhm.
And they say, well, it shows here on the screen you had another ticket. Well, we paid that. Or a couple of times they would have been in another court, and they would say, I say, well, what, did they send you to defensive driving school? No, they just passed it on good behavior. And I would make the comment up there. I
Yeah.
said they shouldn't have done that.
Right.
I said, that's not their job. They should send you to defensive
Right.
driving school. But I never asked who the judge
Right,
was or anything
right.
like that. But you're right. The parents have to be involved in a situation like
Mhm.
that.
Judge, what are the most important things as we work through this? What are the most important things that these parents can pass along to their young driver, their children that are learning to drive, just got their license? What are the most important things that they need to think about or consider?
Well, you know, I think a lot of times if a parent is a good driver and adheres to those guidelines, if they ride with them, and sometimes, you know, a 16, 17-year-old, they don't want to hear what daddy and mama says. It's probably good to send them to one of the driving schools. But what I would tell them when they come in, I said, you go with your father or mother and watch them drive or them let you drive, and you remember that they're experienced. They've been driving for a while. You just started driving, so you need to listen to what they say. And again, I would go over mainly the three keys: the
Right,
speed,
right.
Staying back, and keeping your mind and eyes on the road.
Yeah, parents being an example is a great.
That's a
thing.
very good. That's a very good point.
Good
Also, I mean, because the parents have got to be a good example of how to drive safely.
And quite honestly, you got a lot of parents and maybe even grandparents now that have
Right.
they've never been through any kind of defensive driving
Mhm.
course.
Mhm.
They you know, we don't have it in school. I
Now,
tried every way in the
know,
world to
I
get that
know,
in school.
and we
but
still have to think about doing that. See what we can do.
well,
Get that
it was
done.
tough to do.
Yeah.
One of my present complaints that I have when we're talking about distracted driving
Right.
is these new vehicles.
Mhm.
I don't have the power. You folks might can do it. Somebody needs to go to Congress and talk about them putting this giant screen right here in the front of the car. I mean, do they want them to watch TV while they're driving or what? You know, I never have understood that, but it's just,
right.
it's grown. It's gotten
Yes,
bigger and bigger and bigger.
right, you know.
But hopefully they would
Right.
curtail some of that.
I guess there's a reason fighter pilots have those things flash, broadcast on their windshield.
Yeah, heads up displays.
Yeah, but they're
You know?
fighter pilots.
They're
Yeah.
fighter pilots, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Judge Bean, for being here
Well,
and
thank
sharing
you.
these comments. You've been such a positive influence in Chattanooga and surrounding areas. I mean, what struck me, one of my first times in your courtroom as a young lawyer, I saw that you took the opportunity and the initiative to actually take your setting and really, teach.
Well,
Teach
thank you.
and
Some of the defense lawyers said I preached, but I thought I taught trying to preach.
Yeah, I think
Well, this is your judicial robe.
Yeah,
it's not
I
your
could do
preaching
it.
robe.
I could do either
Or I guess
one.
it could be both.
I do it. But thank y'all for having me.
No, thank you, Judge.
And I have told many people that I really appreciate what you guys do, because you do give back to the community,
Yes, sir.
especially in situations like this, for defensive driving, for speed, for
Right, sir.
everything. I mean, y'all handle accident
We
cases.
see it
but
all the
you
we see it every day.
And-
And really, our clients are the ones that are injured. But to a certain degree, we understand and appreciate that the other driver made a mistake that could have been prevented, and it impacts that driver that made the mistake and his family as well.
Yeah.
As well.
It can impact numerous people, family
Right,
members on
right,
both sides.
right.
Yeah, and you're right on the distraction. If people are too close and they look away, they're gonna hit
Right.
someone. If they're going too fast, the faster you go,
Mhm.
the less time you have to react.
Well,
And the faster you go when you hit something, the more violent the impact.
And one time you brought up even at a red light, it's not wise to get out your camera, even if you're not, your phone, even if you're not
That's right.
moving, because you're looking at your phone and you see the traffic to your left make a left-hand turn because they have a green arrow, and you think that you can go
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and you pull it in front of traffic right there.
And it's difficult
It
when you're
is.
in a car and your phone rings.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, now you can, with the Bluetooth, you
Right.
can hit it, but even with the Bluetooth,
Right.
I don't really like that with young
No,
drivers
no.
because it's distracted
It
to
is.
your mind.
It is.
Smallest
Right,
distraction
right.
can make a huge difference.
Yeah,
You're exactly
yeah.
right, Judge.
This has been one more episode of Two Marks, and
One mic, or two marks, one mic.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you,
y'all.
Judge.
Thank you.